Okay, so I forgot to do an intro for this when we recorded it, but this is a Refinery episode that really got me excited. I originally had a topic that I wanted to talk about. Brandon came in, swooped in, saved the day with an even better topic, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. Today, we are talking about what is that thing? What's that one thing you have left that you haven't done that you really, really want to do? What does that mean to you? What does it mean to us? That's what we're going to talk about. I'm so stoked. The conversation. Welcome to the Refinery, episode 7.
So, what's interesting? I mean, not to say I don't want to take away from your topic, but this has been on me so heavy, and it's not even like a bad thing. It's just like Jon talks about this a lot, and I'm like, man, what is something you really, really want to do that you haven't done yet? Like I've been thinking about traveling so much, like Switzerland and Norway and Germany, and I'm just like, there's so many things that we have available to us. We don't really have a lot of obligations, aka kids, to stop us from doing things. I'm curious for the two of you, like, what's something that you can taste on the tip of your tongue that you really, really want to do that you haven't done yet?
Jon?
One thing, the thing that comes to mind right away, I have done skydiving. I have not got my license to skydive by myself. I'm very, very intrigued because I've always wanted to go skydiving through a cloud or like on the side of a cloud. I'm fascinated with clouds, so I've always had this dream. So the moment you said that, I was just like, to skydive next to a big fluffy cloud, that would be incredible.
7 jumps away. So
yeah, no, it's not too far away.
I'm just saying, like, that's how long it, I believe, takes to get your solo license. Like, you have to go tandem for like 3 jumps, and then I think you go solo, but they're holding you essentially, and they'll pull the ripcord for 2 or 3, depending on where you go. I spent a lot of time at the DZ, as they call it in the biz, the drop zone. My dad's a big skydive fiend.
Really?
Yeah, love skydiving.
Oh.
So I grew up at the drop zone. Like, kids are just packing chutes. It's the best. And they're just sitting in the hangar. Everybody just comes down from their jump and they'll pack their chute, or they'll pay, one of the local kids or teenagers to pack it, and they'll just watch the whole time and sit there, have a beer, jump back in there, go back up. Yeah, man.
Wait, you've been, Colt?
No. I was, because I'm 7 years younger than my nearest brother. So the big thing was when you turned 18, then you could jump. I've been up in those planes a ton. I've seen a lot of the worst jokes ever. Like, the fucked up jokes that, like, I remember the first time not the first time I went bungee jumping, but one of the times I was bungee jumping, I was in this rock quarry in Canada, and I'm out on this, essentially what's like a giant crane. It's just over this quarry that has water in the bottom of, like, tons, and it's middle of winter. And right as I go, the first time that I did it, I was on a chest harness, and then the second time I had my ankles done. And so the first time I went, it was totally fine. Second time I go to jump, and as I'm going, he goes, no. And so the whole time I was like, fuck. And they would just fuck with you. Like, as they were grabbing your harness, they'd be like, all right, cool. But in the plane, we used to hear all sorts of the worst jokes ever. Like, you'd see somebody just freaking out. And there was this guy, Tony, that used to live with us up in my pop's house. And he was sitting there in the plane one time, and he goes, hey, don't worry about it. If your chute doesn't open, you'll only bounce once. Okay, bye. Like, shit like that, where you're just like, you have lost all perspective. So I no. By the time I was old enough, also my dad and I weren't on terms, so it was one of those where I broke my ankle during West Side, and I literally, that was how I knew specifically how many jumps it took, because he's a dive master, which means he has over 1,000 jumps. He can.
Holy shit!
Oh yeah, no, I mean literally, I spent quite a bit of time there, either that or climbing, like rock climbing.
Wow.
But like that was what I did, was that or target practice in the backyard, because he lived in the woods. So we'd buy action figures and set them up at varying distances in the yard, and got me a nice high-powered scope. And we'd sit on the back porch and just teach me how to breathe and teach me how to shoot. So, not the worst thing ever. But yeah, tell me if you end up doing that, man. That'll be great.
Yeah, no, it's been a goal for a minute. It's funny because it's the one thing I can watch videos. It could be like 2 in the morning, it could be 2 in the afternoon. I will giggle like a little schoolboy because I get so excited at the idea of just skydiving. And it's funny because bungee jumping actually scares me more than skydiving.
It's fucking
Well, and it was cool. Actually, a couple of days ago, I just saw this video, and I was like, to see emotion. It was a couple. I'm guessing they were married, a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they were standing at the edge. And it was crazy because they're doing somewhere where like it was fog. They didn't see. Well, no, they were just gonna jump off, but they were jumping into the fog. They were jumping into what they couldn't see the ground.
No, sir.
And the girlfriend was hugging her, I guess, boyfriend.
Right.
And he basically, they didn't jump. He just fell backwards, and he was holding her. And the video, you see her face, because he kind of just is like stoic. He just falls. But her face, when they're standing there, she's smiling. And the moment they like both their feet kind of slip off, you can just see the fear, but also the trust she has as she's holding on. And I was like, wow, the emotion in those 2-3 seconds of like just letting go, I was just like blown away. And it's the same thing with skydiving. When you jump out of a plane, like it's a moment of
about a minute of just like, I'm gonna enjoy this, because who knows.
Well, the first time I went skydiving, after I jumped there, like, what was it like? And I was like, it's the only example. Like, I never really used the word bliss, and skydiving is the example of what bliss feels like. You feel all the wind, it's all loud, and then it gets quiet, and it's just, you're just falling, and you see everything. You just look around, and it's just like,
oh, yeah, dude. 13-5-0, man, get it.
yeah.
So interestingly enough, Colt, your topic has come full circle.
Yeah, right. Surprise, surprise. Guys, we got here.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, yeah. No,
I did that on purpose.
All makes sense.
I directed this whole thing. I'm the editor. I just made it happen. We've been talking for 6 hours.
What about you guys? What would you say your response is to that question?
Brandon?
Oh man, I think I really just want to go to the Swiss Alps and be in my heaven. With all that green and those mountains surrounding me with their ice caps. There's a picture of this lake. I'll send it to you guys when we get off of here. And a lot of people take pictures here. It's very scenic. It's very like picturesque and just almost unreal. But there's something about that place that really, really speaks to me. Really speaks to me. It's like, I love Texas. It's just flat as shit. Anyone who knows.
Sidewalks are the highest fucking thing you're gonna find.
It's just so damn flat. And everyone who's ever driven through Texas knows. Colt, you know.
You hit a speed bump and you're like, everybody hold on. Woo-hoo! Okay, it's over.
It's over. But driving through Texas is the longest thing in the world. Because the thing about road trips is The second you pass a state line, you're like, oh shit, I'm a little bit closer. Texas, you could be driving for 3 days and there's no state sign. Just another welcome to Dallas, welcome to Amarillo, welcome to fucking.
That's how you know how big the fucking state is. They put welcome to signs for
a state, for a city.
Yeah.
Welcome to mile 32. You're like, fuck you, Texas.
Texas. I love home. I love home. But it is the hardest place to drive through. I don't care where you're coming from. I don't care where you're coming from. It's the hard. Unless you're in El Paso or you're at the Panhandle or you're in Houston and you're going to Louisiana, anywhere else, you will be driving for a while. But to me, though I know that I'm going to end up in Montana or Wyoming or somewhere here in the States with just land and like in Colorado even. I want to be able to taste the world, you know, to know what Europe is really like. I have really zero desire to go to Asia. No offense. It's not in me to go to Asia. Africa, kind of. Australia, yeah, might absolutely get down under. See some fucking kangaroos get after it. Those fuckers are yoked.
Oh yeah,
kangaroos are yoked. But traveling for me is something that I really want as an adult, to go back to Germany for Oktoberfest and just get shit faced. I mean, more beer than I could ever imagine. That is something that I want to do. Yeah. So here's what prompted this.
So big.
What?
The October, like the beers of Germany, they're fucking
massive.
You grab a Stein and you're like, I'm gonna fucking give me a Dunkel, give me a Dunkel, and I'm gonna get fucking wasted. And then you have like half of it, and you're like
drunk.
I immediately regret this decision.
What triggered this was I was looking at life, and that I have Smokey Joe now, and like me at 32 is the manifestation of something I wrote when I was 4 years old, right? And now I'm living it. And what was interesting is I went out the other day and I was working with him, and I was like, oh wow, life doesn't stop here. How crazy is that? The fact that life does not stop at something this amazing and this sweet, that there's still places to hop on a plane and go to, that I will share my first kiss with the woman that I'll spend forever with. I will be there hopefully for the birth of my first child. I'll be there for the birth of my third child. Wow, there's still so much more life to live. And though we're living in a really, 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 really rough time, and there's so much transition and so much to think about, I often try to see the horizon and I say to myself, there's so much more life to live if tomorrow will allow me, if God will allow me to get to tomorrow, right? Because I could get off of this call right now, and that's it, right? This is where the story ends. But if the story continues, God willing, then there are so many more chapters that I want to color and paint and sketch and draw and add to, no erasing, but add to and add to and add to. And I was like, the people in my life, I want to hear about the colorfulness and the beauty and the aspiration of what do they want to create for themselves? What do you want to create beyond now? Though now we are present now. What do you see? But how does it look? What laughter do you hear? What food do you taste? What place have you gone? What thing have you seen? What thing have you done that you always wanted to do? And when we look up 10 years from now, when we're sitting around a fucking fire at 60, we can look back at this conversation we had today and say, man, I remember when. That's what inspired this conversation. And I'm glad I get to share it with you guys, because it's been very internalized for me for like the last two weeks, honestly.
That's beautiful. if I can add, if you're going to do that, Switzerland and the Swiss Alps,
Yeah.
land in Milan, drive up, get yourself up to Como, and then drive from Como through, because Como is on the border of Switzerland, and drive through the Alps. Because I forget the name of what you're talking about, the lake or the huge. I don't know if it's a lake or if it's a river.
It's like a really still lake surrounded by these fucking mountains.
Yeah. And I think you can drive to it, and so driving through the Alps is incredible. And you end in Geneva. I got a chance to do it 2 years ago, and I would highly suggest anyone who's going to the Alps get a chance to drive really through them. And going from, one, Como is absolutely stunning. So if you've ever been to Como, it's like to start there, and then just driving through the Alps, like there's so many beautiful moments. But exactly what you were saying, to experience it in a way, and to go to that lake, yeah, that is what life is about, to have those type of experiences.
Colt, I want to hear you. Come on.
No, it's there's a really beautiful thing that's happening that I get to watch how passionate you guys are. And I obviously I would never consider myself lacking in passion. But it's a beautiful thing with so much gratitude, to be able to look at my life. And it's funny, the convergence, the intersection of both of your dreams happened the year that I left high school. I was part of a choir that was performing. We had to go stay at this 7-day Adventist camp for 2 weeks. And we were learning this piece of music with this soloist, and we were going to end in Monte Carlo, and perform this piece for the Prince of Monaco. And on that journey, we passed through the Swiss Alps, and we went to the top. We took a ski lift to the top of the mountain, and I was in a polo and shorts and flip-flops and a beanie and I got out and played in the snow on top of the Alps.
Wow.
And then as we here's where the little crossroads happens, a little Robert Johnson. As we came down in that same ski lift, all of a sudden I saw what looked like birds taking flight, and it was dozens of wingsuit base jumpers.
Wow.
Coming off the edge of one of the Alps, and just and I was like, oh my God, and everybody took it in. But having spent so much time at the drop zone, having talked so much about the 3 to 1 and the ratio of falling and why wingsuits are so cool, I was so grateful in that moment in a way that I wouldn't realize fully until 20 years later on a Zoom call with some friends.
Holy shit. That's fucking wild.
And what makes me so happy is that the first thing that I thought, well, I don't want it to sound simple, overly simple or banal, but it's the truth. I'm not trying to be overly romantic about this, but the only thing that I want to do that I haven't done, I just can't wait to be a dad with Ange. That's all I want. That's the only thing left. We've lived in Australia. We have lived in I have lived in Japan. We have lived in Europe. We're so fortunate to have. She came out to visit me on the Pink Tour one time, and we had 24 hours together, and it was the best and simultaneously worst 24 hours that I can ever remember, because we knew it was ending and we knew we weren't going to see each other for a very long time, and we were in Brussels, and we decided when we woke up at the break of dawn that morning, before anything was open, that anything we saw that we wanted, we would get. So eating or drinking. So we ate or drank, I mean, for 24 straight hours. We walked around Brussels and ate and drank. And at the end of that night, I don't think I've ever seen her cry that hard. And I don't think I've ever cried like that, because it was so much magic and so much beauty and so many other levels of things. And as cool as all of that was, I really want to get it together in a way that allows us to have a family and to do it the way that we want to do it. That's what's left. And that's the only real goal. The rest is extra. The rest is Ephesians 3:20. The rest is just above and beyond.
Okay. Well, listen, I wasn't trying to shout tonight.
I mean,
I wasn't trying to shout.
It's my favorite verse, and we talk about it quite a bit, because that's what life feels like sometimes when you look back on it. Like, look at the things that we've talked about. John, you talked about with the Aston Martin, with that whole concept and that dream. Brandon, you talked about just when you were a kid being a football player, and like, look at just where we already are. And this is probably more than I'm supposed to say, but to me, I can only speak for myself, but I'm at like a third of the way through is what I feel like. Like, I'm like, cool. All right. Like, if this was the first third, I dig it. Like, that was cool. I'm glad I did that stuff. I got some other stuff to do, but this next third is devoted to that. The stuff that I couldn't literally have done because I wasn't there, and I wasn't there. But now, like, yeah. No, so I'm set up. I'm ready for this third.
Andrew, you at?
Oh, she's off in the thing. She's off in the room doing her thing.
No, I'm just like, Andrew, you at? He wants to get going now.
Beautiful.
By no means, yes. What John just said is perfect. Like, by no means. By the way, let's do this. Cheers to dreams. Cheers to dreams. Cheers to living. No matter what that is, no matter what that looks like, because both of you, it was just so beautifully displayed that fatherhood is skydiving. Okay, let me put this down.
Well, you didn't even take a sip. You can't cheers and not take a sip.
Cheers, drink, and then
Come on, Bullet. Come on, full bottle.
It's like sitting there, and you're like, I'm gonna put this down. And you're like, should I put mine
Should
down
I?
too?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I drink it, or should I wait?
Metaphorically speaking, the two things John and I have displayed, you are looking for this new adventure in your life where your life and what you've created and what Anne just created in her life come together. And in that, you create a new life. And that new life is blank. So the same trust and the same uncertainty it takes to be at the edge of that plane, knowing that God and your family and we have your back, and that Ange has your back, and you lean out into the openness that you have no clue what could happen, but because you're trusting, you drop into fatherhood. And as you let the breeze of that first cry hit your face, holding your child, you're passing that first cloud, you slowly open your arms to surrender yourself to the very goal and the very dream that you want. But the beauty is where you land, family is that getaway that I want in the Alps. Family is that scenic place where you can sit, you create your own brook, you create your own stream, you create your own lake of what that looks like. That's Sundays with dad making pancakes. That's Saturdays dancing around the TV or on the radio. That's taking your kids to their first Broadway show. That is your Alps. That is your Alps. And then you can also take them to the places you've been.
Yeah.
You know? So fatherhood is not simple.
No.
By any means. It's not small by any means. It's a very beautiful goal to aspire to. And where this call has gone, I am beyond fulfilled and pleased with. Like, I feel good.
I'm right there with you.
I feel good.
I gotta say, there's not been a call that got me almost tear up the way this call has. Like literally the beauty that's been shared in this. It's funny, it was a couple of weeks ago, someone told me, pay attention to who you surround yourself with, because they're inspiring who you're going to become. And like, I am so happy to be on these calls, because if these calls predict who I'm going to be down the road, man, I'm a blessed human being, because I like, beauty on so many levels.
All right, now.
It's surprising every time.
That's
the irony. It's fucking surprising every time. Like every time we know it's going to go well, but every time it's just like, I mean, it's the Dave Chappelle, right? It's the, no, I'm gonna crush this shit. Like, you know, it's gonna go well just because worst case scenario, if the three of us, when we eventually find, I'm so excited, when we find that thing that none of us, like somehow there's now three sides to that argument, which granted is an infinite amount of sides. Like, it's essentially the multiverse of arguments. And somehow we're just like, I'm pretty good with the same one. Like in general, like a general sense of it. But there's going to come that day, and even that one is still going to be something that all of us walk away from having learned, which is the entire point
of this
entire journey that we're on of John, what you created here and what you brought us into. Like, it's just the fucking best, man. I absolutely dig this so much.
Seriously.
What I would love, though, is for the two of you to join me in the Alps.
Yeah, easy peasy.
That's what I would love.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
That's what I would love. John, designated driver. I'm drinking.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. So
yeah, but
you don't have a giant bottle of Bullet on lock and also take care of designated driving. Like, nah.
No worries. I would gladly be the driver for that.
Yeah, but there's nothing.
When I did that drive, I got 3 speeding tickets mailed to me afterwards. Every single one of them, I smiled as I paid for it. I'm like, well worth it. Gladly will pay.
Do it again. I'll do it again.
Here you go. Here's my money. Here's my money. Here's my money. Do not care. This was well
we
worth
had
it.
Very different drives through the Alps, though, John. You drove through in an Aston Martin, and I was on a very rickety bus with a lot of other people. It was a very confusing time in my life. It was. But yes, I mean, I would love that. Now, I will say this. There is a small thing that I'm going to need. I'm going to need for us to all do the things that we plan on doing, because I don't plan on flying internationally over any large oceans without my girls and my family. Like, it's not going to happen. So we're going to need a plane. So if we could just make sure that that's in the cards, then
Yep.
I'm there. But I'm just saying, like,
Hold on real quick. Set the intention.
yeah,
Take a plane to get out there. We'll all go out there with our families. We'll make it happen.
there we go. Come on now. Come on with the hand rub. We're going to look back at that hand rub and that goatee and be like,
That
you did it.
That's how the
That
Aston Martin
is
thing
it.
happened. That is how the Aston Martin thing. Every time I see an Aston Martin, all right, universe, I'm here again. I gotta remind you about this one.
Dude, I have conversations with God all the time when Ange and I are talking or arguing, not arguing, but like when we're arguing. And I'm like, just hold on a second. Hold on a second. What? No, I'm not being, just hold on, guys. I'm not being rude. I'm just, okay, I'll tell her I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean it. Oh my God.
I
The
like
key.
that.
No, the key.
Yeah.
Oh my
Best, though.
gosh.
It'll have an out loud talk with God in front of somebody and see if you don't hear it. See if you don't hear yourself real clear. All of a sudden you go, I'm sorry. So this has been the Refinery episode 7. Initial topic is gone. I have no clue where it went. It's not important because the one that Brandon brought in was awesome. And I'm very happy that we got to talk about it. I fucking love you guys. As per the usual. Let's throw up one last cheers for the night. This is all I got left. So it'll have to
Love
be
you
us.
You guys have a great, wonderful evening.
Yeah.
Until next time on Refinery. How full circle is this though? Because we're talking to our future selves, and when we look back at this, how crazy is that?
Edit this out? I don't know. Now I need to leave it in. Oh, this has been the Twilight Zone Refinery episode 7.